Hello and welcome to Living Arts and Vocal Medicine. Today I'm talking about an experience that I had with visualization, which was an incredible healing experience that I thought might be helpful for others. So I had developed a back problem. I had like a very minor pinched nerve in my back. It wouldn't hurt on a normal basis, but it was preventing me from doing yoga, for example, and from really stretching or moving my back fully. And I thought if I just take a break from yoga and from other things for a while, then it will resolve itself. But it didn't. And after about a year had gone by, I was really impatient with it. And I have researched a lot about the connection between psychology and emotions, what's happening in your life, patterns in your life, and then patterns in health and patterns in your body. So I talked to a friend of mine who was also interested in these ideas, and she suggested that there was something that had happened in my world where I thought that someone had my back, someone had me covered, someone was supporting me, and then suddenly they weren't. And this was actually true. There had been someone that I was starting a project with that had suddenly and unexpectedly backed out. And that was around the time that my back started hurting. So I'm also an artist, and I was creating a painting at the time, a fairly abstract painting. Sometimes I would just have a canvas. I like to work on large canvases when possible. And I would say a prayer before I would create the painting, and that would be, whatever should come forth, would be manifest in this painting. And it's been an interesting process. I've had paintings that ended up looking like the wing of an angel or a firebird or whatever. But I was using an acrylic pouring technique with some modifications, for this. So I said the prayer, I started painting, and often I paint in layers. So I painted a layer. The next day I came back, did another layer, and then I'll add details and thicker paint and that kind of thing. So when I got to, I think, the third day of painting on this painting, I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a spine, but it's not a healthy spine. This is a spine that is misaligned. And I didn't want to put something out there that was not uplifting for people, not something that would, raise the vibration rather than remind you of a problem or a painful situation. So I really meditated, like, what am I going to do with this? I can't put this in an art show. I don't want to sell this. I don't want to reproduce it. And then I decided that I would do virtual surgery on this painting. And I would try to correct the imbalance in my own physical body by projecting it outward. Obviously, I'd already projected it outward into this painting, and by correcting it in the painting. So I went upstairs one day and I just set the painting against a desk in a room, and I got the sharpest knife that I could find. Then I said a prayer that this be for healing and that this be, I was basically sacrificing the painting, that this would be for my benefit as well as, anyone else's benefit, if it could be extended in that way. So I took the knife and I started cutting out the portion that was misaligned in the spine. And I ended up cutting out a square that was about a third of the painting. So completely destroying this painting. And then I said a prayer when I was finished, and I just released it. Just released the situation, the pain that was associated, the misalignment in my spine that, appeared to have taken place. And then I just took the painting and I finished my prayer. I put the knife away. I put the painting out in my garage. Fortunately, I did take a picture of it, so I'm able to include that in the video. And within a few days, I realized that the pain was completely gone. Like, it was absolutely and completely gone. I could do anything I wanted, and there was no pain at all. So I do think that process of visualization and also recognizing what was the source of it and being able to let go of that situation, being able to move forward with that project without the other person who had been involved, was also a key. So clearing it on the emotional, the psychological level, and then in the physical, just symbolically, through this painting. So that is the end of my story of healing myself by using one of my paintings. Thanks for listening. I hope it's helpful to someone out there at some point and gives you ideas, for healing yourself as well. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.